of shame or disgrace. So if something has a stigma, it means it's very similar to the word stereotype, which we see as number 2. If someone has a stigma of something, it's they think about something in this really negative, shameful, disgraceful way. So to stigmatize something means to give it those feelings. To destigmatize means to take those feelings away. So you might see a group or an association who is working to destigmatize mental illness, right? When you hear the word mental illness, people have a stigma attached to that word, mental illness. It's a bad thing. It's not good. And sure, sometimes it probably is. But mental illness, at least many people would agree, it's not something that is necessarily a bad thing. And it doesn't mean that it's a bad person or something like that. So they're trying to destigmatize mental illness. The example sentence here says, she fights to destigmatize house husbands all over the world. So almost related to the topic you're talking about. Instead of a housewife, a house husband, a guy who stays at home. Other guys might make fun of him, call him feminine, call him gay, call him lazy, anything.
Actually, this is my dream.
Hey.
We call it shutter man.
Shuttle?
Shutter man. Shutter. Shutter means it's close. Yeah.
Shut up.
It could be Konglish, but it's like,
okay.
How can I say this?
Shut in, shut up.
I mean
Shuttle.
Shuttle. I mean
like
closer.
Shuttle bus. No.
Not shuttle. It's like
if you see it at night, I mean at the street, they close the door.
Oh, shutter.
Shutter. Yeah.
E-R.
Yeah, shutter.
E-R. Shutter.
Yeah, shutter.
Shutter man.
Yeah, shutter man.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, so you want to destigmatize that, or destigmatize. You could think of many examples. Destigmatize some group of people who is viewed in a negative way. And number 2, stereotype. I think we understand stereotype. The important thing that I usually try to say is stereotype is not necessarily like a bad thing. Mm-hmm. I think I gave this example before. I don't want to say many or most stereotypes are a bad thing, you know. These Americans are fat, or Japanese people are evil, or something like that. So you can have a stereotype, and oftentimes they're bad and they're negative. But sometimes, the example I always give, in America, Asian student is smart, right? So smart is still something that's good, but that's still a stereotype. Yeah, sure. And you still probably shouldn't have a stereotype because it's generalizing everyone and putting them together. So if you look at the definition, it's the key word that I would say is oversimplified, right? The fact is, almost all stereotypes have some element of truth to them, right? It can be just a small group of people or quite a large group of people. Like Americans are fat. Many of them are. Probably, I think, over 50% are. So many of them are, but not all of them. So the key word there is you're oversimplifying and you're generalizing it.
But what is the difference between prejudice and stereotype?
Stereotype is, they're both nouns. Stereotype is the belief. Mm-hmm. Like, what is the belief? They are fat. They are bad. Mm-hmm. They are smart. That is the stereotype. Mm-hmm. What do you believe? Mm-hmm. Prejudice is always going to be negative, like I said, stereotype. Sure. And prejudice is just more of like a feeling of ill will, a feeling of hate towards someone. Not necessarily hate, but ill will, and it's kind of a bad feeling towards a group of people. Number 3, undervalue. I think this one's quite simple. To undervalue something, you don't value it enough. You rate it low. It is actually, in reality, it is worth more than that. So you can undervalue an employee, right? Especially if they are not really impressive and you don't notice them every day, but they are actually really, really valuable. If you take them away, then you will notice them. If they are there, you might not notice them. If you take them away, you will notice. Also, you can undervalue a stock, right? That's a normal one. You can undervalue a person or something. Number 4, broad ranging. So this, I think, also is pretty easy to understand. It just covers a lot of things. It covers a lot of ideas, an extensive range. Broad ranging research is in the example here. You can talk about a politician or a philosopher. His ideas are very broad ranging. They cover many different things. Number 5, overburden. This means to give someone too much work. A burden is kind of a heavy task on you. It is weighing you down. It could be many different things. It could be some problem with your relationship. It could be just too much work to do. That is a burden. Overburden is giving you too much. You know, it's a burden. Maybe you can still persevere. You can still just do it and bite the bullet and just keep working hard. It is a burden, but you can continue. But to overburden means probably they're going to collapse or something bad is going to happen because too much.
So, burden can be used then physically?
Definitely a burden can be like a huge load on your back. Usually it's not physical, but it many times is. Employee retention. Synonym here might be pretty much synonym of turnover rate, something like that. Turnover is more emphasizing how many of them are changing. Employee retention is emphasizing how many of them stay. In essence, that's the same thing. Retention, retention, what is the root word there? Retention. Retention means keeping something.
Yeah.
Retention is the noun. Is there a verb with that? Retend? I'm not sure. I have to know. I've never seen that word used. But a retention rate is also quite common. You can see turnover rate, retention rate. Like I said, it's just the inverse. And number 7, call to action. So a call to action is something that makes people want to take action. Take action, do something. You can see lots of advertisements or publicity for homeless children or for homeless children or for sick people, but you just feel bad, but you don't do anything about it. A call to action means someone is saying, hey, don't just sit there, do something about it. They are calling you, they are asking you, or kind of, in this sense, might be challenging you, trying to persuade you to take action, to do something about it. Maybe you can tell me more about this example sentence, I don't know. Yeonmi Park's speech is a call to action for China to stop the repatriation of North Korean refugees. Does that name ring a bell for you? No? Probably she is a North Korean refugee, I guess. Do you understand what the second part of the sentence? Stop the repatriation of North Korean refugees? So they come to China, but they send them back to repatriate them, to put them back in the original country. So a call to action could be anything that